Remember I talked about the ship, SHIP, hitting the fan, causing financial disaster, not being the person who dropped the ball? Because we want to have a plan. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. How to use the tax code, what I call the 3 biggest benefits in the tax code, to create a plan that can actually leave you more money for you now and maybe millions more than you ever had for your family later on, and much of that can be tax-free. I'm going to give you a dramatization of the problem because first you really have to see how this unfolds. I'm going to use a big number. $10 million IRA. Now you might say, who has $10 million in an IRA? First, you never know. Second, if you can lose $10 million, you can lose whatever you have. And the less you have, the more important it is to protect what you have. So I'm going to do this in slow motion. But you will see the unraveling of the taxes. Let's say you have a $10 million IRA. It's the only asset in the estate. You die. What happens in 9 months? You have estate taxes. Because we're going to assume there's going to be some kind of tax. What else happens in 9 months? That's right, you have a baby. Is it different here? If you think about it, life's like a bell curve. They give you 9 months to get into the world and 9 months to get out. Little tax history there. That's where they got the 9 months on the estate tax. All right, you have a $10 million IRA. It's the only asset in the estate. You die. What happens in 9 months? Let's make the numbers easy. You have to come up with $5 million in estate tax. Where are you going to get it from? That IRA. I said it was the only asset. But you take $5 million out of an IRA, that's $5 million of taxable income on one return in one tax year. So let's see how this plays out in our dramatization. You die. $10 million IRA, your family has to come up with $5 million. They take it out of the IRA. They take $5 million out of the IRA. They're walking it over here to Uncle Sam, the estate tax guy. But what step did I skip? Income tax. I crossed over a street right up the middle here I call Income Tax Avenue, where Uncle Sam Jr., his son, the income tax guy, is standing there, and he says, great, you landed on my space, 40%. 40% of what? Well, you took $5 million out. I get $2 million. So you give him $2 million. You continue on to Uncle Sam Sr., the estate tax guy, and said, look, I was on my way over here. I had all $5 million. I didn't talk to anybody. You know, I'm from New York. I got mugged. Guy grabbed me for $2 million, so I'm short $2 million. Don't worry about that guy. He's my son, Uncle Sam Jr. He does income tax. I do estate tax. We work together. Good. You guys settle it up. No, he gets his and I get mine. You're short $2 million. Better go back and get it in 9 months. No problem. Still a few crumbs left back in this account. You started with $10 million. How much do you have left? 5. What do you need now? 2. You have to pull out $2 million. You pull out $2 million, you're walking it over here to Uncle Sam, the estate tax guy, minding your own business. You hit Income Tax Avenue, there's Uncle Sam Jr., and he says, great, you landed on my space again, now I have 12 hotels, 40%. 40% of what? I just gave you all that money. $800,000, 40% of the $2 million you took out, so you give him $800,000. You continue on to Uncle Sam Sr., the estate tax guy, said, look, I was on my way over here with the $2 million I was short. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't look at anybody. Bang! Same greedy guy hits me over the head. I'm short $800,000. Well, better go back and get it in 9 months. This goes on and on and on. Actually, I did it in slow motion, but it happens instantaneously. In this book of mine, The Retirement Savings Time Bomb, I actually did the walk. On page 152, it didn't even take me the whole page. I stopped when I got down to the last 12 cents and I felt the point was made. That's what I call the retirement savings time bomb. You lose it. See, the point is you have to understand there's a problem. Why would you be interested in a solution? This is why most people don't play in the second half of the game. Why would you be interested in a solution if you didn't think you have a problem? I'm telling you, you have a problem. What advice would I have given that $10 million guy if I was able to consult with him before he became the croaky? That's a legal term. croaky. I would have told him, you have to have a plan. The IRA is not sacred. The reason most people lose their retirement money is because they just look at it. It comes down to one word. That's the big problem: admiration. People just like to look and admire their work. For example, I have people that love to show me their IRA statements, and they say, oh, look, I have $1.2 million in my IRA. And I say, that's not your money. You're not keeping any of that. It's just temporarily on your letterhead. Don't you get it? But they love to look at it. I'm telling you, the IRA is not sacred. Either you use it, you leverage it, or you lose it. And this is where we use the 3 biggest benefits in the tax code. And here they are. Number 1, the single biggest benefit in the tax code is the tax exemption for life insurance. Now, just so you know where I'm coming from, I do not sell life insurance. I do not sell stocks, bonds, funds, annuity, no products. But I believe in this concept. I'm just a tax advisor, but I believe in this concept, and you should too. In fact, I have millions of dollars of life insurance myself. I have so much life insurance, that's why I can't eat at home at night. I'm a big believer in this. What would I have told this guy if I was able to consult with him with the $10 million? Has $10 million in an IRA? Take $5 million out now. What do I care? It's going in the garbage anyway. I can do better things with it now. The last thing on earth you want is for taxes and post-death expenses to be paid from an IRA. Remember, if most of your money is sitting in a retirement account that hasn't been taxed yet, the last thing you want is to leave your beneficiaries the mess of having to pay those taxes, and we're going to assume there's going to be taxes and post-death expenses from retirement money, because if you do that, you get into this cycle of taxation, this tax on tax that eats away at the account until it's gone. Better to have other money. See, life insurance money comes out income tax free. And if you're working with an advisor who really knows their stuff, they can make it estate tax free as well. We want tax free. So what would I have told this guy? Take out the $5 million. We can do better things with it now. Even if the income tax was 50%, that still leaves you $2.5 million to buy enough life insurance to replace this entire estate and then some, and have it come out all tax-free. See, you have to look at the long-term big picture. Most people don't do that. When you talk about life insurance, the first thing people say, well, it costs too much. I'm telling you, what does it cost not to do it? Look at the score at the end of the game. You lose it all. Here's the way I do planning with people. I like to use a yellow legal pad like this. Using my football analogy we talked about earlier, the score at the end of the game, the reason I like the legal pad, because it kind of looks like a football grid. It has all the lines there, and the last line is the goal line. Not a good goal for estate planning, which is what we're talking about. It's death. You know, whenever I say that, I'm reminded of this attorney friend of mine who says, oh, I never like to use the word death when I talk to clients. I say, well, what do you call it? He says, I like to use the term when the will matures.